Oh, I believe that I'm gay. Oh, I believe that I'm not so straight. Sucking cock every night and day. Take my ass and fuck it away. I believe that I'm gay. Alright, what's up, guys? Dark Harvest Season 2. We are in it now. And this is going to be part 4 of the Dark Harvest Rambling series. We rambled for a very long time about Season 1. Maybe longer than Season 1 deserves to be rambled about, let's be real. Season 1 is pretty damn mid compared to Season 2 and 3. So, yeah. It's getting good, though. It's about to get really good. So, little recap. At the end of Season 1, Chris and Alex decide to stop making videos. And then Alex sees a little thing, and visual distortion happens at the end of that series. I don't know. At the end of Season 1. So, yeah. Season 1, nice little self-contained story. But it wasn't self-contained. We will build... Season 2 will build off of that self-contained story. It all started with a door slamming, and it will get way further than just a door slamming. At the end of Season 1, we got introduced to a cult. That cult will become more prominent in this season. And even further than this season. The cult is about to become the whole crux of the story. But you will see that as we go through it. So, that being said, let us just jump into it. So Season 2 starts with the first video in this playlist, titled Trauen. Truhen. It's German for trust. And this video was uploaded by Kind von der Ritter. So this season starts with a video from Kind von der Ritter, not a video from the Dark Harvest boys. So let us full speed ahead go. So this video starts with Kind von der Ritter, because that's who I'm guessing is holding the camera right now, walking down a road. Audio and visual distortion is playing on the screen, and it seems that time is moving backwards, which we've seen Kind von der Ritter mess with time before, so this is nothing new. But he walks up to Chris's house, opens up the door and walks in. But when he opens up the door, big visual distortion happens. Some big boy visual distortion. And as he goes into the house, the visual and audio distortion stops, but time has now frozen, which we've also seen Kind von der Ritter do this before, so yet again, nothing new here. But he goes into the house, he sees Chris's dad sitting at the dinner table, just, time frozen. Kind von der Ritter walks up the stairs, goes into Chris's room. Chris is sitting there on his laptop. Looks like he's researching something. And then he goes back downstairs. We see that Chris's dad is still sitting at the table looking at his book. But time is frozen. So, all the characters are like mid-action doing, just frozen there in time. And, Kind von der Ritter leaves the house, and that is Truhen. That is Trauen, or whatever, however you say it, right? Then we move on to the first Dark Harvest upload of Season 2, log entry number 20. The log entry number 20 starts with Chris recording a chest that has that little symbol on it. The little triangular symbol with the lines and the circle, right? The symbol that will be in the thumbnail of this video, profile picture of the channel, all that stuff, right? He asks the lady doing the yard sale, yo, how much is this chest? She says, yo man, not for sale. Weird, because it's out in the yard sale, right? He's like, why is it not for sale? She's like, family heirloom? Chris is like, huh, family heirloom. She says, yeah, Macomber family heirloom. And Chris is like, wait, did you say Macomber? Chris asks her, you wouldn't know Mark Macomber, would you? And the girl responds, yeah, I'm his granddaughter. And then she's like, yo, what's with the camera, homie? And Chris spins some fucking stupid lie about being a history major and trying to find about his history of cultural artifacts in the area, and just, stupid little lie. Chris, you nasty little liar. Spins this little lie and eventually gets her to agree to doing a little interview at Starbucks tomorrow. So he's going to interview this lady. He then offers, if you don't want any money for this box, $150. He's big boy prices, high prices, right? She's like, look, man, sorry, my mom would kill me. So it's fair. Why is it out at the fucking? Why is the box out at the yard sale though? It's weird. But whatever. Chris gets in his car. Video ends there, right? The description in the video read, about last week, I decided to carry my camera with me again, just in case anything happened. Today I found this bizarre chest at a yard sale near my neighborhood. The really strange thing about the whole thing is that the girl who was running the yard sale is the granddaughter of Mark Macomber, the man who went missing from my house in 2001. Yeah, that is some strange shit. So, now we move on to the next video. Interview with Heather Macomber. Alright? So now we have a name for this girl. Heather. So, the video starts. Alex is driving Chris to the Starbucks to interview Heather. And Alex asks some questions about her, and Chris gives some basic information, about the chest, and about how he convinced her for an interview, and, all kinds of the stuff. Alex is like, yeah, this is chill, as long as we're not breaking in any abandoned building. And Chris is like, yo, look, man, we're not breaking in anywhere. This is innocent. It's a chill little thing. Just, I just want to know more. So they get to the Starbucks, and Chris starts getting his stuff together. He has a backpack with notebooks and stuff, and Alex is like, he brought notebooks so it looks real, and Chris is like, no, I actually have, real questions written down and stuff, I'm going to ask her genuine stuff. And also I brought the backpack so we could put the camera in there, so, we're not seen with the camera. A little secret interview. Chris, you little sneaky boy. Maybe not so innocent. Maybe not as innocent as you're saying it's going to be. You little sneaky guy. You. Chris has some trouble finding something that he needs for this little interview. And, we see a little car in the parking lot of the Starbucks, trail by. Kind of, creeps in front of their car, stops for, a second, and then keeps going. I don't know if that's significant or not, but it may be, and that's why I decided to mention it here. So as they're walking up to the Starbucks, it kind of seems like someone's following them. That may be significant, that may be not. But, I don't know. Car trails by, parks in the parking lot, someone trailing them while they walk up to the Starbucks, and then they get to a spot, they set the backpack down with the camera hidden in it, and you can see what looked like the dude who was trailing them sit near them in the Starbucks. So, and we don't get to see his face, because he's sitting back, right? He's sitting in a different seat, just kind of sitting forward. So his back is to the camera, but I don't know. I don't know if that's significant or not. Why I'm deciding to mention this right here is because you'll understand why in a little bit. Cult stuff is going on and we've known about this. And it has been uploaded on this channel at this point, different little cult stuff going on. So, it wouldn't be wild to say that this cult is kind of watching Chris and Alex at this point, as they do things, as they live life, right? Because we've already known that these weird cultist dudes have been watching Chris and Alex ever since log number 10. With that suited cultist dude, or even like around like log 17, 18, 19, that kind of area too. So yeah, I don't think it's not significant to say that they could be being watched. Ugh. This cult seems violent, so it wouldn't be wild to say that this cult also stalks people too. From what we've already seen, that would make a lot of sense. So Chris starts to set up the camera, and we get to see the guy's face. He turns back towards them just for a second. He's on the phone with someone. But it really hell of a lot looks like their friend Jesse. Like, really looks like their friend Jesse. Glasses, hair, the hair, and everything. It just looks like their friend Jesse, like, a lot. So, could potentially be him. So, Heather shows up, and the interview starts. Chris asks the first question, how did you get the box? So, Heather answers, she, her grandfather, Mark McComber, had the box, passed it down to the parents, and then the parents passed it down to Heather, right? And Chris asks, how did your grandfather get the box? She doesn't really know, but does mention that it has a bunch of symbols on it, and, like, the Freemasons have their little symbols and stuff like that, so it may be like a Freemasonry item. Chris asks, what's inside the box? Heather does not know. Her parents never allowed her into it. Parents just told her not to look in. Heather does mention, though, that when she was younger, she tried to break into it, and her father, her papa, freaked the hell out. He got all freaky with it. Not like that. Not like, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't fucking say that. Her father freaked out. Her father got angry. Heather, don't go into that box type beat, A not for you type beat. So, Chris asks, I want to know a little more about your grandfather. She says he was a strange man, kind of like overly protective. And then she says that she misses him. Because he disappeared in 2001. Just randomly from his house. And most of her memories come from bedtime stories. So, Heather would ask Mark for bedtime stories, and he would tell stories about a big, tall, dark man that would scare children away. And that was how they spent most of their time together. It's insane. Mark McComber, you're a crazy-ass grandfather. God damn. What are you doing to little Heather over here? Grandpa, tell me a bedtime story. So there's this big, scary fucker out in the woods. He takes fucking kids away, and he eats their organs and shit. And eventually this man named Greg will die from his hand, and that'll be the first dusk. That's insane, bro. That is fucking insane. Okay, we're starting to get a bigger picture here, though. So, Heather mentions that a weird thing about him is that it's only like 80, 81, 82, around that age range, 81 to 82, 80 to 82, that age range, but he looked about 40. Weird as fuck. So, they ask where Grandpa worked, and he worked as an assistant to a professor at the Atlantic test site. A picture's growing here. A picture is growing here. But she doesn't really know what kind of work he did there. And he retired not too long after working there. So he asked about, what, if he went missing, so where do you think he could be? Heather says that her family doesn't really talk about it, and they don't really know. And, they put out, like, flyers, missing persons reports, but it's starting to get a little crazy around that time, kind of early dementia type beat. So, yeah, Heather has no idea where Bro could have gone. So they set up another interview. They tell her that this isn't just like a history project, it's also like a video project kind of thing. So they set up another interview for sometime next week with the camera. This is just kind of like the pre-interview, the rundown, right? They get their questions, they answered, and everything goes considerably good. And then they set up another interview for next week. Heather leaves, and then Alex has a very poignant thing that he says, which is kind of sounds like, he either went missing or he just didn't want to be found. And the video ends there. Now, the next video is an upload from Kind Von der Ritter titled Rainwood. And it was... Now, this video is a little interesting. Ugh. And it has a long-ass description, so I'm going to read all of that after we go through the events of this video. Now, the video starts, and we see a picture of a house. And near the house is a big, tall man. Big, tall, bald, faceless man. And the audio in the background of this video is like a little girl sounding panicked. And the audio sounds like a little girl getting more and more panicked, seemingly starting to cry. Maybe being attacked. I don't know. Some kind of suffering is going on in the audio of this video. But as I said again, the picture is of a house, and there's a big tall man standing near the house. Now, this picture was uploaded to the Project Egypt blog. Daniel Shipman's Project Egypt blog that Chris talked about towards the end of Season 1, right? And now the description comes directly from Daniel's blog. It is a very long description, so I will read all of it. I'm going to read all of this description for you now, but just know that this is going to be a long little bit of reading. Also, I will link the Project Egypt blog in the description so y'all can go check it out for yourselves. Alright. Let's get to reading. This past month I've been busy with work and my social life, but I did manage to squeeze some time to research some things for Chris and Alex. The first thing I found information on was Rainwood Day Camp and Learning Center, located right across the street from their late friend Greg's home. Rip Greg. Founded in the late 1950s by a Lawrence Rainwood, the day camp was a complex where children would stay during the summer months. It had large dining halls, a full kitchen, craft rooms, as well as a large swimming pool. The camp was in operation from the mid-50s until the summer of 1958, when something called the Rainwood Incident occurred. According to the police reports dating back to June of 1958, all the way to May of 1960, every single child staying at the day camp disappeared on the evening of June 19th, 1958. This coincided with the first double homicide committed by a serial killer who was dubbed by the police as the Tall Man. The murders occurred just 2 miles from the camp. I need to breathe. All right. Many speculated that the disappearances were the work of the Tall Man, even though there was no evidence to back this claim. All adults who worked at the camp were institutionalized shortly after the incident, labeled clinically insane by physicians after claiming that a monster came and took the children away. Ugh. The largest missing persons case in the history of the state of New Jersey during the 50s, the Rainwood case would become a nationwide story for nearly 3 years. The police searched for the 72 missing children to no avail. Although after the case surfaced in the media, however, it was forgotten. Newspapers no longer talked about it merely days after the story arose, and it did not become a media firestorm like so many expected it would become. Despite this, even after the 3-year search for the children ended, family members of the missing children continued their search. The children to this day have not been found. Strangely, just weeks after the Rainwood incident first occurred, there was a fire at the day camp. The building suffered a lot of structural damage, and all documents in the building, including personal information about the children, were lost. The building was scheduled to be torn down the next year, but instead was bought by an anonymous landlord who refurbished it. It was then in use again from 1965 to 1998, when it closed again for unknown reasons. The building has been abandoned ever since. The history of the day camp prior to the Rainwood incident is very foggy due to lack of documentation, all lost in the fire. All but one photo. That is, this mysterious photo resurfaced a few years later, supposedly by a family member of one of the missing children, who found it in the debris of the fire. No one knows who took the photo or why. Another thing to note about the photo, both striking and startling, is the figure. No one knows who the figure is or why the photographer did not notice the figure while taking the picture. Some speculate it is a forgery made by a family member of a missing child to perpetrate the legend of the Tall Man and to pin the disappearances on him in order to reinvigorate the search for the Rainwood children. The person who resurfaced the photo was given this response by the police. The sad truth of the matter, this is the response by the police. It's in quotes and everything. The sad truth of the matter is that after 3 years, the Rainwood children will most likely never be found. We give our sincerest condolences and heartfelt sympathy to the family of the lost children. As for the serial killer, the Tall Man, that issue is being handled by the federal government. We have our best boys working on that case. He will one day be brought to justice. Chief of Police, Ronald White. And this was all written by Daniel on his blog, Project Egypt. So, yeah. There's a lot going on in this little video. And now that we have this added context of children missing, kind of seems like audio of what happened to at least one of these 72 kids. Some kind of suffering happened before these children went missing, and we don't know what happened to these kids. But yeah, as we can hear in the audio of this video, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that this is audio of one of the kids. And to re-say this video is titled Rainwood, and it was uploaded by Kind von der Ritter. A lot to think about. Yet again, I will put the Project Egypt blog in the description of this video. And now we will continue on. Log entry number 21? Yeah, 21. The description says everything went better than expected. And so the video starts. And Alex says the words, "Look, Chris, I don't think it's worth getting arrested." And Chris is like, "Look, man, we're not gonna get arrested. You're overthinking this, right?" And Chris says, My dad says that the lock on the box runs off of something called a skeleton key, right? You can buy that from Home Depot. I have it right here, right? So Chris has this skeleton key from Home Depot. Chris also says that his dad's a locksmith, so his dad has some skill to him. Essentially, what they're implying here, though, is that, they're going to interview Heather, but they're also going to go try and bust into that box in her house. So, and for what we see from the description, everything went better than expected. It's sounding like they're going to succeed. And they also got Jesse in on the plan, so hopefully this will go good. So they start to go to Heather's house. They both got cameras, right? So we got dual recordings for this video, and they're as ready as they could ever be to execute this tension-filled plan of trying to bust into a box in a house that they've never been into before. Heather lets them in. Everything's going to plan so far. They both got their cameras, and they set up in the living room to start doing the interview. But then Chris is like, "Ayo, I gotta use the bathroom." So he goes to use the bathroom, right? It's upstairs. So he starts to go up the stairs towards the bathroom, right? It's not like he's gonna go try and check around to see where he could find the box upstairs, right? So Chris goes upstairs, sees the bathroom, and then starts to check around more of the upstairs. He goes into Heather's room, and he sees that it's Heather because she has Ocarina of Time open on her little box TV, and one of the files says Heather on it. So that's a great little way to show that this is whose room I'm in, right? I love that. Also, Legend of Zelda keeps becoming like a very constant theme throughout this series. But besides that, right? We vibing. Checks around her room, can't find the box, so he just decides to He decides to go into the bathroom, flush the toilet, turn the sink on, right? All that kind of stuff to make it seem like he did actually use the bathroom. He's being a sneaky but smart boy. So shout out to Chris right now. And then he starts to head downstairs. So, Chris goes back downstairs and they continue on with the interview. But then a noise at the door comes. Plan is in motion, boys. Alex and Heather start to walk towards the door, and Chris says, "Oh, I'll just stay here," with this little, he says this little, you hear this little, smirky tone in his voice. This, you can just hear it's a lie. You just hear, "Oh, I'll stay here" is a lie in his voice. It's so funny. So, Jesse comes to the door, and he's like, "Hey, my car broke down. You mind if some help?" And Alex is like, "Yo, I know a little bit about cars. Maybe I could help. You want to give me a hand?" And Heather goes out with him. And also, in this video, we get a little bit of confirmation that the dude in the last video that the dude in the interview with Heather McComber video, who was trailing them and sitting near them in the Starbucks, was Jesse, because same hair, same hat that he was wearing. It's Yeah. Jesse was there. He was listening. So there's something going on with Jesse that we don't know yet. But answers will come, I do believe. Then we cut back to Chris's perspective, and he waits for them to leave the house, get a little further, and then bolts the fuck upstairs. Bolts the fuck upstairs. He gets upstairs, goes into Heather's room immediately, looking around, right? Then we cut back to Alex's perspective. Now, we cut back to Chris's perspective. He's fucking rushing around that room. He's looking in drawers. Fucking, he's panicked, right? And Alex is outside working on the car, right? And he makes a little reference to when... so Everyman Hybrid has this crossover with Tribe 12. But in the video, when they're going to pick up Noah from the train station... they come across the Dark Harvest boys who need help with a car, and the car doesn't want to seem to work until it just does. And they make a joke in that Everyman Hybrid Dark Harvest crossover little section of that video, where, they one of them says something about how, it was magic. And now Alex in this part says, so one thing that I learned from past experience is that cars run on magic. That's just so good. So, yeah. Alex makes that little joke, that little reference to the Everyman Hybrid crossover. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good little joke, pretty good little reference. Fun little reference. Fun little moment. But this isn't a fun little video. I'm fucking stressed over here, guys. I'm watching Chris panic like a goddamn little man rushing around Heather's small-ass room trying to find a box. Got me spooked up, brother. And Alex is obviously struggling, trying to figure out how to be like a little car repairman. Then we cut back to Chris's perspective. He checks under the bed and boom, box there. Box is there. Woo! Let's go. He found it. Okay. He finds the box. He gets that fucking shit. He starts putting the skeleton key into the lock, right? Getting that lock, trying to get it open, right? Struggling a bit. And then Heather's like, Chris has been in there for a while. I'm gonna go check on him. Heather's just to walk up to the house. Alex is being like, no, it's fine, right? Can't really seem to get her to stop going up there. Chris gets the lock open. He finds some documents inside. Heather starts to go into the house, bro. I'm freaking out right now. I'm genuinely fucking... Ooh. So Heather starts to go into the house. Chris is... Now he's grabbed these documents and he's trying to get the lock back on real quick, right? Real quick. This is a stressful ass fucking situation. I'm cringing. I'm fucking dying. I'm dying over here watching this. I'm dying. This is a great video, by the way. This is a genuinely amazing video. Go check it out. So, Chris gets the shit, box back under the bed, walks out of the room, goes downstairs, right? Then we cut back to the perspective of Alex's camera. Heather's walking into the house. Chris is sitting on the couch, just chilling. He's just chilling. Plan worked. Oh, dude, I'm so relieved. So, Alex, goes and checks on Jesse. Car's working. Woo, wait, fine, great. They sit back down together and continue the interview. And then the camera cuts, and we cut to them thanking her for doing the interview and all that stuff, right? Oh, brother. Chris secured some documents in that chest. Brother, I'm dying over here. I genuinely feel like I'm dying over here. That was fucking stressful. That was horrible. I hated that. I hated every moment of that. But crisis averted. Plan worked. Holy shit. So they leave Heather's house and they get back to the car and they're giggling like little fucking schoolgirls. They're like, ooh, it fucking worked. Oh, holy shit. Dude, I feel giddy right now. I feel genuinely giddy. This is an amazing video. Go watch log entry number 21 for yourself. So I can't be doing it justice, bro. I can't be doing it justice at all. You need to watch this for yourself so you can feel the emotions that I'm feeling right now. God damn. This is what I mean. Dark Harvest Season 2 is already getting really good. From the start, it's already getting really good. God damn, such an amazing video. But yes, Chris and Alex, they're in the car. They're fucking giggling like little schoolgirls. Like, ooh, we got it, ooh, we got it. Oh, they leave Heather's house, and they go and meet Jesse at the train station. Now, one thing that I need to say here is that the car that was trailing them, the car that was trailing them in the interview video at Starbucks looks very much like Jesse's car. So, you know, maybe me mentioning that was actually significant. Maybe that was actually some important detail, you know? I said before and I will say again, something is going on with Jesse. Jesse is, you know, something's going on here. So, they show Jesse that they got the documents. And, Jesse seems to very much be interested in what the documents say. If there's something going on with Jesse here, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Shit's going really weird. Shit's getting really weird with Jesse. But, you know, Chris says that he's going to contact that Daniel guy from the Project Egypt blog to help out figuring out what these documents are about. And, yeah. But yeah, so let's do a little recap before we move on to the next video with this whole Jesse situation, because I feel like this is a very important thing to kind of go over. Jesse's car trailing them at Starbucks. Jesse trailing them into the Starbucks, sitting near them while they interview Heather. Jesse really interested in the documents. Fucking, and he was like adamant about it too. He's like, yeah. When you find out stuff about it, I just like to know what it says and stuff, right? You know, he said that like 2 or 3 times at this little end part of the video. And as I was mentioning before, it would make sense that this cult would be trailing Chris and Alex. Could Jesse be potentially a part of this cult? I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. And we will see as the series goes on. That being said, though, let us continue on to the next video. Now we are on the next video. Update number 5. Just an update on the papers we found. Sorry guys, I can't release them. That is the description of the video. So Chris is going to give an update on the papers that he found in the lockbox in Heather's house. So Chris starts off by saying that he talked to Daniel about these papers, and Daniel advised him not to release scans of the papers or anything like that, because these papers have technically never been classified. So, or declassified or anything like that, right? So these are hidden papers. These are papers that should not be seen by the world. Now, Chris starts to describe what these papers are. They are correspondence between 4 people. One of those people being Mark McComer. Other people, he can't release the names, but one of them is the project director, the other one is a lieutenant colonel, and the last person being a professor. This same professor that Mark McComer was an assistant to. The project was called the Princeton Experiment, which we've heard a little bit about before. This experiment was conducted by 2 different departments. The Department of the Defense, their main office, and then the Department of Special Sciences. The experiment itself was about building a thing called the construct. This was conducted during the Soviet and U.S. space race, having something to do with like time space stuff. Involves something like portals or wormholes. They were trying to figure something out about that. Ways to travel quickly, like teleport or something like that. It seems like some crazy shit, and the lieutenant colonel, who was the military overseer of this project, agreed that it was some crazy shit. But the project director was very like adamant about it being, important stuff. And all of this information was found on some sort of like ancient Egyptian tablet. The document even name drops Heinrich Kaufmann. Yeah, the document even name drops Heinrich Kaufmann, who was the archaeologist that Daniel was researching on his Project Egypt blog. Now, Chris did send these documents to Daniel, and Daniel was pretty like, yo, what the hell, right? Because Daniel's been writing a blog about Heinrich Kaufmann and, just interesting stuff. But this experiment used something called an essential material, which this essential material is human life, and they would use, in the experiment, they would use death row prisoners for this experiment in some way. Chris says that it sounds like some unethical shit, and he, after hearing that, is not surprised that these documents have not been released to the public, because it sounds like they were using human beings as essential materials, whatever the fuck that means, in some really like weird, dehumanizing, unethical way. Going past moral boundaries for this experiment, the first trial of this experiment was a failure and like broke a lot of their electrical shit. And right after the first trial, before the second trial, the correspondence stops between these group of 4 people. Essentially, it just someone says like, we're gonna do the second trial, and then correspondence just stops. But chronologically, the last letter sent during this correspondence was in 1957, and it was a letter to Mark McComber. And this last correspondence pretty much was telling Mark McComber to shut up about this whole thing, some kind of gag order, and there would be a generous pension. He could retire, live out the rest of his life in peace. Just not doing work anymore. Chris talks about how it seems really weird that Mark McComber would have these documents in his possession hidden away in some kind of lockbox, because they seem very like top secret, not the kind of documents that you could just take home with you, right? And that gives Chris more reason to not release them, because Chris says that he's not too worried about talking about this information on YouTube, because he doesn't think that there's like federal agents combing through YouTube videos to try and find shit like this. But if he released these documents online, it could be bad. It just like irks Chris that he had these documents, and that he also lived in the current house that Chris lives in, and about Mark McComber's disappearance, Chris still has no idea how the hell that happened. Chris says, though, that he's not surprised that Mark McComber is missing at this point. Having these documents seems pretty, the kind of thing that you would own and then you would disappear for owning, right? So Chris says he's going to do some more research on it. Chris then thanks Daniel for being as helpful as he can, and ends the video. But we are not done with this video. This is the end of the video, but there is things we need to discuss. So during this video, So during this video, Chris is sitting in his house, and he's sitting in front of a window that looks like it's right outside of his house, right? He looks like he's sitting in front of a big window that is right outside of his house. And during the course of this video, at one point we see someone walking around in Chris's yard. We see someone walking across the street at some point. I'm going to now comb through the video a little bit, try and find some timestamps, some general timestamps for everyone to kind of, have some basic information from. Around the 1 minute and 20-second mark of this video, we see someone walking in Chris's yard. They seem to walk forward, stop in front of his window, kind of look towards the window, and then walk back from around where they came from originally. And this little moment goes on from the 120-second mark all the way to the 140-second mark. So a good 20-second span where for most of it we can see someone just in Chris's yard. And I may be going a little insane here. I may be seeing things that I'm not supposed to, but it looks like the person who's outside of Chris's house is Jesse. It looks like Jesse is stalking the outside of Chris's house at the moment. Really, I don't know. In my brain, it just really looks like Jesse. So, this is gonna be kind of like a half a point onto the something weird is going on with Jesse counter. But it really looks like Jesse to me. So yeah, this is just another one of those things that adds on, in my opinion, to the something weird is going on with Jesse. And okay, and then around the 4 minute 40 second range, we see someone walking, what looks like walking off of Chris's property and going across the street. So yeah, I don't know. Seems like someone is in Chris's yard stalking him. Maybe Jesse, maybe someone else. I don't know. But there is weird shit going on in this video. Out that window. In Chris's yard and everything like that. So yeah. I just wanted to mention that. This video is update number 5. So go watch it for yourself. Go check out those timestamps and go I don't know, do your own investigating. I guess if you really feel the need to. But that is where we are going to end this off for now. Thank you for watching. We will continue with Dark Harvest in the next video in part 5. Thank you for watching. Highly appreciate it. And yeah. Brofist.